All right, welcome back. Another week. First week of October.
Welcome to October.
There have been some deer put down.
There has been some deer put down.
I want to say it was 7,000. Let me check it.
As of today, Adam Wynn posted this in our group chat.
Okay.
22,548.
Wow. And it was like 7,000 before, so
Yeah. So
15,000.
right in 4.5 days plus the Liberty Hunt, 4 counties have harvested over $400. Lapeer, Mount Calm, Sand Lac, and St. Clair have all over $400 harvested. Lapeer is the only one that is over 700 total.
Okay.
So there you go. It was 517 today. He looked it up.
Okay.
So, it's one of those things. It's live, folks. It's
as live as we are right now.
right
With a 20-second delay.
Yeah, right. But it is October. I was up in the UP last week, and
So was I.
it was interesting.
Yeah, it was. We did a little kayaking. I hit the northern boundary of Lake Huron on the southern shore of the Upper Peninsula.
I hit the western UP and listened to coyotes and wolves.
And how was that?
It was, you know what? It was the loudest weekend I've ever heard up there.
Really?
It was just
A lot of howling?
they were taking things down and howling, and it was wolves were active, yotes were active, bears were active,
Everybody was playing, huh?
and I was up a tree.
Okay.
So
Tammy Delk's in the house tonight. Hey,
yeah, she is.
welcome aboard. People are starting to pile in, so
Right, and we got our special guest, as you can see in the live shot. Once again, folks, you haven't started that, so I won't even say that. Call myself.
there you go.
As you can see in our live shot, here's the box.
And no, our special guest is not in the box.
Right?
Let's make that abundantly clear.
Right.
But he is sitting anxiously awaiting us to introduce him tonight, all the way from Missouri. So, Mark Allen, good evening to you as well. So, you ready to kick this thing
Yeah,
off?
let's go.
All right.
Oh,
Oh, what?
no, just,
Don't you unplug anything.
I'm not unplugging, I'm trying to plug in.
You didn't plug in your laptop, did you? So, we're going to wait on Danny here once again. Once again,
Well,
he's having problems
we
with his
kind
laptop.
of did a little.
Mark Allen, yes, it is hunting season, man. And I have not got out yet. I am anxiously awaiting. Not this weekend, but probably next weekend.
Excuse me.
Are you all right?
Of course I'm all right. Just hold on.
As he tears my studio apart.
That was my knee.
Mm-hmm. All right.
We
So
had to do a little shifting.
yes, we did. He's getting plugged in here.
Right.
All right.
Are you
Are you all set now?
There's got to be a bruise on that knee.
All right. Here we go. Stand by in 3, 2, and 1. Welcome back to another episode of the Up North Journal, everybody. I'm host Mike Adams sitting in the cabin tonight with Dan DeFaul, who is knocking things around.
Yeah. Well, we got this box right here.
We got a box behind us that we're going to be talking about tonight.
Absolutely. It's October. It's the first week. It's 70-something degrees out there today,
Yeah.
and Friday it's going to be 50.
And Tammy Delk says you like the Tasmanian devil that she saw posted online,
Right? For sure.
knocking stuff around.
You're right, Mark Allen. It is hunting season.
Well, let's get after it.
All right, let's do it.
Where do you want to start tonight?
All right, folks. I tell you what, there's nothing better than getting out and helping out our supporters. And it is hunting season. Why don't you go over and check over at buckbaits.com if you're thinking about a scent or a call. Go check out their website. Use the promo code UNJ20. You get 20% off your order. Easy Cuts. What better way to get easier way to your stand? Use the promo code UNJ15 off. You'll get 15% off at easycutproducts.com. Packerbacks, give Lincoln a call. He's been busy over on the west side of the state here in Michigan. Packerbacks.com. UNJ25 gets you $25 off your order. If you don't follow the Island Armory on Facebook, you probably should, because what better way to enjoy is but buy more guns.
Right. And save some money.
And save some money by using the code UNJ10. You'll get 10% off your order at checkout. JPO Game Calls, if you want to do some yote hunting. Maybe you're thinking of a grunt call. Or if you're doing any duck hunting. JPOGameCalls.com. UNJ10 gets you 10% off your order. Now, this guy's been busy.
He has been.
Miller Deer Tracking. Get 20% off your next deer tracking. If you use him, use the promo code UNJ20. That guy has been going like crazy. But you can still go check out Southern Indiana Bait Company, Bait Co., and you get 10% off your order there, UNJ10, if you go over there and check out their website, if you're looking to get into some the rubber worms and stuff for fishing.
I wonder, do they have any 8-ounce weights?
Oh.
You knew I was going to go there at some point tonight.
Yeah, it was a matter of time, right? Got a good deal on them, right?
That's right.
And we are drinking tonight.
Oh, you're asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
Oh, we're drinking Hazel Rut Time.
Hazel Rut Time over, and you can get your own at deercampcoffee.com. Use promo code UNJ10, gets 10% off your order. Don't forget, while you're there, pick up a bag of the UNJ brand.
That's right.
Right?
Well, speaking of cold weather, what's it like up north right now?
I tell you what.
You going to tell me what?
I'm going to tell you what. Let's go to a nice full screen because it is 62 degrees up in Newberry.
No snow.
No snow. And if you go over to Cedars and get a pizza and some Deer Camp coffee, you can enjoy that. There's not a cloud in the sky up there, it looks like.
Nice and clear.
So, yeah, it's we're carried on 123 FM up there, but the leaves look like they are falling.
They're starting to fall everywhere. Colors are starting to change. You know, and that brings up one thing. It's hunting season for sure.
And that was one thing I did notice, and they said it on the radio to confirm what I was thinking. It was only 20% color.
Yeah, they're expecting some peak color this week in the UP, and maybe moderate color in the northern lower. So I'm hoping so, because when I get up there this weekend, that's what I want to see. So, well, let's get into tonight's show.
Well, we talked about it. We've shown a picture of it. It was up on your porch. It was in a box.
We're not going to unveil it just yet.
No, but we got to talk to the person that sent us the box.
That's right. So none other than Scott Tabor, all the way from Missouri. Scott, what is going on tonight? And thanks for joining us.
Good evening, gentlemen. How are you?
We're doing good. After Danny kind of rummaged through the studio here at the beginning of the show, but everything's still working, so that's good. That's good.
Right?
You know, the box stayed intact, so
Right.
made sure that he didn't knock that over. So, you know, Scott, I'm not going to give this away just yet. And if anybody's looked at the title of tonight's show, they probably kind of figured out some stuff.
Yeah, they kind of figured it out, and it's an interesting where we're going into, but we got to have Scott on to hear about his endeavor as a taxidermy. And first off, before we go any further, we all want to thank you for your service.
Absolutely. Thanks for your service to our country.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
So, without further ado, I'm going to let you either unveil what's in here or talk about why we have a box here. I mean, obviously, we want to talk about some taxidermy tonight, and that's what this whole thing's about. So, we're not going to tell you what's in the box until Scott tells us to take it out. So, with that,
how did you get into taxidermy? Let's get a little background on how you got into this business. You were in the Marine Corps. Was it a passion you've had like all your life? Is it something you got into? What led you down the road of taxidermy?
So, long story short, my dad dabbled in taxidermy when I was younger.
okay.
And I always remember him having those skills, but he never took it into a business.
Okay.
He would mount animals for friends. He had a bobcat in the house. I've got antlers that he did for plaques for other people. I've got those that, my dad since passed away, but it's always been in the house, in the mind, and being in the outdoors, hunting and fishing. For me, it's a great way to carry that over into my next career, which is taxidermy. My first one was in the Marine Corps.
So you said your dad was into it. Were you part of it, or did you just watch? Did he get you involved in any way in doing any of it?
I was not. I was too young. I just remember he had a lot of cool stuff, on the tables and things that I could mess around with in the epoxies. And basically what I was doing was ruining his supplies. Getting in trouble for it. But it was arts and crafts, and I thought it was fun to mess around with. So, but I was too young to ever learn that stuff. When I graduated high school, I knew I'm not a college guy. I didn't think I was a college guy right out of high school. So I wanted to learn the art of taxidermy, and it's hard. It was back then, 20 years ago, to get someone to show you how to do it unless you knew them or you were an apprentice at a shop.
Mm-hmm.
So there weren't as many schools back then as there are now. Fast forward, that didn't end up panning out. I got a phone call one day from a Marine Corps recruiter. He said, "Hey, have you thought about joining the Marine Corps?" And I said, "Absolutely. College is not my thing right now." So we spoke, and then about a month later, I was off to San Diego and finished boot camp. And then 21 years later, I retired, and here I am.
What was the first thing that you took to task to mount, and do you still have it?
I do. So I actually went to taxidermy school in Wisconsin.
Okay.
I took 2 weeks of leave from the Marine Corps, and I went to Wisconsin to go to a school. And the first thing I ever mounted was a deer. It was a coyote. We did a coyote first, a full-body coyote. I've got that here at the house. And then the next week was game heads. So the process for game heads is the same, whether it's mule deer, elk, or deer. And I've got that mount here at the house as well.
Nice.
Right, and there you go. You go off to school. You're spending a couple weeks learning it, and lo and behold, you said you retired, and now you're in the taxidermy business. You've created a business, and it is called.
It is called Troublesome Creek Taxidermy.
And you can find them on Facebook. And as Mike pans to it right now, go on to Facebook, folks. Check them out. Troublesome Creek Taxidermy. Give them a like, give them a share, but. The reason why we're having Scott on, as you're going to find out here in a little bit after we take it out of the box, but he's got a unique concept that he's doing to get, when you go to the taxidermy, sometimes you take your mount, if you're going to get a bird done or a mount of a deer you got, I've seen where some people are 18 months, 24 months, and they're going to pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
But Scott's come up with a little bit different technique. And I want him to explain why he's got a better idea.
So, full 100% credit here goes to Tyler and Tessa Jones in Jacksonville, North Carolina. Tyler called me up one day and said, "Hey, have you ever thought about mounting a duck?" And I thought, "No, I have never duck hunted. I don't know anything about birds. I'm not a bird taxidermist. I'm a deer taxidermist." But I tried, and it was not good, right? So my very first bird that I ever mounted is also here at the cabin, and it is fantastic. That's what I'm gonna say. It is bad taxidermy, and I love it. So that got me into the duck hunting circle, and with the duck hunting circle, I met people who duck hunted, and I talked to a guy. Said, "Hey, have you shot any ducks this year?" He said, "Yeah, I shot a hooded merganser. I took it to XXY taxidermist, and it's going to be 24 months before I get my bird back." And I just thought, that is a long time to get your bird back. Well, fast forward, I basically fallen in love with waterfowl taxidermy, and that's what I specialize in. That's all I really do. So what that means is you don't have to wait 24 months to get your bird back, or to get your duck back, or to get your mount back, because I'm not spending 6 months out of the year working on deer or bobcats or coyotes or raccoons. I'm only mounting birds, and I know how long it takes me to mount a bird. I know how many birds I can mount in a day, so that's my quota for the year, and it allows me to get that bird back to the customer that much faster.
So you set up the parameters of not just taking everything in. You're selective, maybe. You know what your limits are, and you're catering more to the customer versus your pocketbook, so to speak.
Yep, I do not call myself a full-service taxidermy shop. I know how to do deer. I know how to mount deer, coyotes. I know how to do all that, but it's not what I enjoy. It's not my passion. I love the process of mounting birds, pheasants, ducks, turkeys. I love the process of mounting birds. And that's what really has drawn me into it. They're unique in every form and fashion. And I love deer. I'm a deer hunter. I will always be a deer hunter. But as far as taxidermy and what my business focuses on, it's waterfowl.
Okay. Yeah. What was the thing that really sparked the waterfowl part of it? I mean, the love of the sport as well as the taxidermy. I mean, because you and I were talking the other night, and it was, I'm like, I have a hard time telling, certain species of ducks. I know the general ones, but when you get into, the different obscure ones that aren't really in our flyway, I can't pick them out. But you have kind of started to hone in on that. But what drove you there?
So what happened is waterfowl has reinvigorated my hunting lifestyle. I didn't know anything about ducks. I didn't know anything about waterfowl until, again, Tyler and Tessa brought it up. And that it forced me, if I'm going to mount birds, it forced me to learn about those birds. It forced me to learn what a hooded merganser is, what a wood duck is, what they do, divers and dabblers and sea ducks. Those birds, it forces me to learn everything there is about them. So it's a new way it re-energized my hunting career, and it's a way to keep learning. I'm a lifelong learner is what I feel like, and ducks, waterfowl has done that.
Okay. Have you got your hunting partner right there, it sounds like?
I do. I have a lovely yellow lab who is walking around making noise.
Well, don't worry about it. She's more than welcome on the show.
She wants you to move over.
She wants the mic.
Right?
I think so, yeah.
So, yeah, we can go to a break. Yeah.
All right, so you came up with this idea that you got more into ducks. So we're gonna go to our first break, but I kind of picked up on something about the timetable that you have. So when we come back, we'll talk about that.
We're gonna step outside. We'll be right back after this.
Perfect.
Okay. Let me save this off real quick.
All right, folks, keep those questions. Mark's getting impatient. Open the box.
It's the reveal, Mark. It's all about the reveal.
Right.
You know, we get everybody through the show, then we won't wait till the end of the show.
Right? He's waiting 18 months just to get a fan mount back.
Wow. 18 months.
Yep.
That's crazy. Well, I mean, but I guess see, the last thing I had done, it took between 12 and 18 months, but it's been, I'm trying to remember what the last thing I had mounted was. I don't remember.
I don't know. Take your pick. You got a bunch.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it was, to tell you the truth. But anyway.
That's segment 1. Don't forget to save it.
Yeah, I got to save that. So I'm kind of preoccupied here.
I know you are.
Alrighty. You got questions coming in?
We got a statement and we got a couple questions.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Stand by. All right, we're back. Second segment of the show. We got some people putting in some stuff already
and
in.
Folks, you're listening to us on the podcast. You're driving down the road. If you're not watching us on Facebook Live or catching us a little bit later on YouTube, you're missing the video part of it. And you should see behind us. There's a box. We haven't even opened it yet, but it's going to be kind of hard. But you're going to have to visualize it on the podcast. But remember to go over and check out the video portion. But Scott, you mentioned your friends that asked you about waterfowl. You said they're in North Carolina, but you are in Missouri, correct?
I am in Missouri. Yes, I am in Missouri.
Let's start right there. I'm kind of. Do I gotta drive it to you? How am I going to get so said bird to you? In this case, we'll say from Michigan to you in Missouri.
So the one thing you can do, and this is what waterfowl is appealing to me anyway, is you can go duck hunting, you can shoot your bird that you want to get mounted, and then you can freeze that bird whole, and when you're ready or when the temperatures allow, you ship that bird to your taxidermist out of state or in state or however you want to get it to them, and then they can mount it, and then there's 2 ways to get that bird back to you. We ship the bird back or we deliver the bird. So I worked in North Carolina in the Marine Corps for 11 years. I apply for a swan tag every year. I like sea duck hunting in North Carolina. So I have trips planned to North Carolina because I want to maintain my customers out there. I don't have any issues delivering those birds to North Carolina or any stop along the way. If there's a group of hunters in Michigan that want 5 or 6 birds mounted and they send them down, I don't have any issue delivering that bird back to the customer. So there's the shipping part of it. I can ship the bird back, which is you have a box that we've been talking about behind you. And then there's delivery in person, and that delivery in person would line up with something that would be beneficial to me, like a 4th of July trip to the beach with a family, or let's say we've got, duck hunting in Michigan. I want to go duck hunting in Michigan. I line up your delivery at the same time, or, some of that nature.
And like you mentioned, you could have that arranged at a quicker pace than 18 to 24 months, right? Or what's the time frame that you're looking at? If we send you the bird, what's the time frame that you're looking to bring that bird back to us or get it to us?
So most of the time, here's a perfect example. I've got a customer. I've got another taxidermist who doesn't necessarily do waterfowl. He does elk and deer and bear and everything else, but he just does not enjoy doing waterfowl. He's 45 minutes away. He gave me 3 birds in the middle of August, and I just delivered those birds in the middle of September. So it took me 30 days to get those birds back to him. Right now, you're looking at probably less than 9 months to get your bird back. And people say all the time, well, a good taxidermist is backed up. I'm going to disagree and say a good taxidermist knows how to manage his time. I'm a full-time taxidermist, retired Marine, and that's all I have to do. My shop is here at my house. I walk out my front door, and I'm 50 feet into my shop, and then I start working on birds all day long. And I don't have to take time to tan the bird or go through the tanning process or the pickling process. I don't send my birds out like deer taxidermists do to get their hides back. Some guys are waiting 9 months just to get their hide back before they can mount the deer.
I think you're right. I think right now part of that issue is exactly that, is the process you go to do the bird as opposed to a process that they need to wait for the hide, send it out, wait for it to come back. You know, do they have to have enough? What's in it for them? And then you're looking at getting it back in just way quicker of a time because there's less, and you know how to manage your time, like you said.
Yep. And I'm not going to take in as many birds. I'm not going to take in more birds than I can handle in a 9-month period. I went to school for waterfowl in Texas, and my teacher told me, he said, you don't have 12 months. You have 10 months. So your number for that 10 months is you're looking at a certain number every month for 10 months because you're going to get sick. You're going to have kids that need to go to the doctor. You're going to have hunting trips. I go duck hunting and do something. I'm going to take 5 or 6 days and go in the woods. I've got deliveries to make for other people. I've got a trip right now planned for North Carolina for January 11th. And I've got items that I'm going to deliver to those, but while I'm out there, I'm going to go sea duck hunting. So obviously while I'm on the road delivering, I can't mount birds.
Right.
So it's 100% time management and knowing your ability and sticking within your parameters. So a good taxidermist, maybe they're backed up. I think a good taxidermist knows how to manage their time.
Well, it's something I was thinking about. And you're talking about, your 9-month window or trying to turn everything around in a year. What I'm thinking about is waterfowlers. I've done a little bit of it. I know enough about it to be dangerous. But, it's not like, shooting a big game animal where it's like, okay, I've got this on the ground now. I got to make sure I make the right cuts and everything and get my meat out of it, but yet and still I got to preserve the hide, and I got to get it to the taxidermist in a short amount of time and know who that is. Whereas a waterfowler, they can take that home and they can take that duck and prepare it properly and put it in the freezer, and they can sit on it and wait until there's the right person they find to get it to, or the right time.
100%. You can freeze that animal whole, and then ship that as one complete bird to me, and then I'll unthaw it and then skin it and how I want to. So I don't skin pheasants the way that I skin ducks. There's a different method for that. And each taxidermist is different. Some guys like to go leg to leg, and some guy will go down the belly, and then some will do under the wing. So it just depends on how your taxidermist wants it cut. And that, for me, I prefer to get the animal. I've gotten several birds that were skinned out by the hunter, and I prefer to skin them myself.
You know what? Like you said, you have a process, a process of doing the whole thing. So it would be better to start from A and go to Z as opposed halfway through getting to Z, right? One of the questions you've was asked is, do you work alone?
Right now, I work alone. If the numbers get to be what I hope that they can be, then I have a couple family employees that I will hire for certain processes, for certain steps of the process.
Okay, excellent. I got a question. You said you do waterfowl. If they ever come up with, in Michigan, sandhill crane season, could you mount a crane?
If it flies, I can mount it. If it has feathers, I can mount it.
Okay. I want to get one mounted. I'm not gonna
Where would
lie.
you put a sandhill crane? It's got to be a full flying mount.
Right? Coming out of the corner?
Yeah, you're going to make a trip to Missouri with a big van so you can put it in the floor in the back, because I don't think you could get a box big. Well, you could get a box big enough, but it costs too much.
It would be awful funny to him get pulled over and a policeman looks in there and there's a sandhill crane. But, it's asked, do you have a website? Right now you don't have a website, but you are on Facebook, correct?
I found the best way for me to connect is on Facebook. You're going to find the same information on Facebook that you would find on a website. I just shoot me a message on Facebook, shoot me a message on Facebook Messenger. We can talk. Look at pictures. You can find pictures on Instagram. You can find pictures on Facebook. And if you don't have them, you can even shoot me an email, and I can email you pictures that way. So there's different ways to communicate. And what you're going to see on a website and a Facebook page, you're just going to see those pictures. You're not going to talk to me in person. And it's sometimes better just to talk to someone. Say, hey, what is your process? Ask the questions. How do you skin your birds? How do you preserve your birds? There are things that you can do, things that you can do as a customer to help you feel better about getting your bird mounted by somebody.
Well, I got to imagine, too, let's say, just for instance, I've got a young son, and it's his first time out hunting, and he shoots a nice Drake mallard. But maybe the dog mishandled it a little bit, or maybe it, it really messed it up because it was flying in real tight, and it really peppered it good.
Yeah.
That way, I got to imagine talking to you, like you were saying, and working through that process. You might be able to talk them into a different mount once you get the bird and look at it and figure out, well, we can do this style of mount because this is wrong with it, or to hide that problem. Is that right?
That's true. I had a customer last year in North Carolina come in, and his buddy was very adamant that, hey, you're going to get a flying wood duck. This wood duck's going to be flying. And when I skinned it out and I started going through it, the one thing I look at are primaries and secondaries for flying birds. Mm-hmm. And I posted pictures on my Facebook page. I said, not all birds are flying birds. Mm-hmm. It had 2 broken secondaries. It just didn't look good. It would not look good as a flying mount. And I contacted the customer and said, hey, let's do a standing wood duck. This is what I've got. These are the pictures. So it's that communication back and forth with your taxidermist. And what I found, I mounted a deer. I shot a deer in North Carolina, and I took it to a taxidermist before I knew taxidermy. Mm-hmm. I got one phone call the day that deer was ready. So if there was a problem with that deer, if that deer wasn't going to work out, then I would never have known until I went to pick it up. But with waterfowlers and waterfowl taxidermists, there's usually constant communication when you're mounting that bird. Hey, this is the damage I found. This is what's going on. And there's just a better customer-client relationship that I've found.
Well, and you get a better overall product. Because if the guy wants it mounted flying, and you're like, okay, fine, we'll mount it flying, and it's not exactly what he wanted because it's damaged, and because of the way it was shot or whatever, he's going to be dissatisfied, and it's not going to reflect good on you because you didn't have that communication. Where that's what you're doing. You're providing that service to walk them through that.
And I think you hit it right on the head with communication. That way, you're always in contact with your customer. That way, when customer walks in or sees the mount for the first time, isn't shocked and like, what did you do? Or I didn't know this was going to be like this, or vice versa. You can be upfront and say, hey, remember I talked to you X amount ago. We had problems, like you said. Let's go with the standing, and that's communication is key. That in anything, having that communication is vital. So now we've talked about getting the bird to you, how you're going to get the bird back to your customer. About average, what's that going to cost somebody? Roundabout figures.
So that's going to be dependent on where they are. What type of mount that they have done. It's all about the size and the weight of the box. So what you have behind you is a duck. I think we're pretty close to opening that up and getting that out. So
you want us to take it out now?
You
want to?
Yeah.
Or you know what? talk about how much it's going to cost, and then we'll go to the next segment, and we'll unveil it.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
I don't want to make these people wait.
So that box was shipped from here to you, from Missouri to Michigan, and it cost $60. I think that's very reasonable for what you have behind you and how much it weighed and how big the box was.
Mm-hmm. I'm surprised that it wasn't more, actually.
I thought it would be more. I thought I was probably looking at close to 150, and this is like, well, there's no way this is worth it.
Mm-hmm.
But there was like, oh, it's $60 to ship it. So for $60, you got a bird.
And
I mailed it on a Friday. You got that bird on Saturday.
And on this box, there's two tags on the box right here, which we were looking at before when you shipped it. There's actually one here that says "Handle with Care," and it's like if it was there's this level in there that has a color in there that it says if it's red, it was kind of mishandled. And then the one next to that it's called Tip and Tell. If there's anything above this line where you see white, it would be blue, means it was tipped over. And we got a little bit of red here, so it was kind of handled roughly, but the box wasn't damaged or anything.
That's from traveling on Michigan roads.
Probably, right? And it definitely wasn't tipped. So there's two things when you look at it on your porch, you can look right away to see if it was mishandled. What did they throw it from the street, get it up to your porch? How that all worked. But for $60, I think that's a great. It was great to see.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised with the shipping on that one and how fast it arrived at your door.
So were we. I mean, I was shocked. Like I said, the price and it arrived in great shape. So, let's go ahead and take our break. We come back. Everybody's chomping at the bit. We're seeing people. Hey, show us what's in the box. So we're gonna take our break. We come back. We'll show you what we got in here. So we're gonna step outside and we'll be right back after this.
All right, folks. Third segment of the show. It's time.
Everybody get your popcorn and get up close to your watching device here, and we're going to unveil.
Right. I tell you what. Since we're on video, we can take the top board off, this board off, and one more. And there we go.
Now those were you had those screwed on.
Those were all screwed down.
Yeah, we took that loose beforehand.
Yep.
And actually, before we do go back live,
We'll do it again.
I want to pop in a quick picture here. Yes, if I can grab it without killing the feed.
Yeah, don't do that.
Hopefully, everything will still go as expected. I want to show the inside of the box. No, it's not going to let me. I'm just going to leave that alone.
All right. So
We'll just leave that alone. I don't want to.
Yeah, don't mess with it.
I'll post some pictures later because I did take a picture of the inside and the way it was
Right.
put in there. All right. Let's come back here and.
Did you save it up?
Yep, I'm just out a lot of sorts tonight.
Yeah, you are.
I don't know why. Don't know what's going on. It's been a long week. It's been a rough week at work. All right. Here we go. Stand by. All right. We're back for the big reveal here.
The third segment of the show, the big reveal. Again, folks, you got to watch between in the video, see what happens. So this box came screwed down. These are the top three boards that were on the top of the box. If you saw my little drop, you heard Mike actually unscrewing these while we were getting ready for the show. So,
and as he put this in here, I left the brace. There's a brace inside that holds everything down inside the box, and that was screwed down as well. So
right.
It's not just rattle around in the box. I wish I could have got the picture, but I don't want to kill the feed.
yeah, let's not do that. So, what we're going to do, hold on.
Let me get that because that's got to turn
Yeah, you
when
got
it comes out.
I don't want to be in your way.
All right, and it's going to sit up there just like this, Dan. I'm going to hand it to you.
All right, let's get this box out of the way. As we knock things down, don't worry, folks.
you go.
All right. We have unveiled the box. And what do we have here?
So what you're holding right there is a Drake hooded merganser. That is that's a lovely duck. People call them fish eaters. I think they're very pretty. I like their hoods. It's sort of a challenging bird to mount to get their hood to stand up the way it is and get their nice full hoods up there. But I like that bird. That's one of my favorites. I like it here in the house. It's one of my favorite to mount.
It's beautiful.
It is downright beautiful.
Well, thank you.
And that's just the way it came. I took it out of the box one time just to make sure everything was good on it, and I put it right back in. So you shipped this from your place to here, just like that.
Yep, yes, sir. And one thing you're not going to find in that box, you're not going to find packing material, you're not going to find peanuts, you're not going to find bubble wrap. Nothing touches the bird. The box gets built around the bird, and it's secured in there. One thing that the customer or the viewers are going to see once you post that picture is there's a square box that base sits in, and then on top of that base was a 1x2, and it just sits there and holds that thing in place, and everything's screwed down. So that bird has traveled from North Carolina to Missouri, and then it got shipped from Missouri to Michigan. So it's a well-traveled bird.
It's put on some flight miles. It's got frequent flyer miles.
Yeah, right. And literally, you just gave me the bird.
I did give you the bird.
Thanks. Mark Coleman noticed that. But this is how, like you said, it got shipped in a day. There was markings, tags on the box to know if it was mishandled. We pulled it out of the box after we got it open. Mike just a little bit of a twist, and it came right out of the box, and it's now sitting here on our desk. And I tell you what, if you can do something like that, and like you said, in a few short months instead of waiting 18, 24 months, why not?
Yep, exactly.
It's just one of those things. You went out, you did what you had to do, you shot the bird, and you want it to come back to you so you can remember it. Some of these people, with some of these mounts and stuff, it's like, man, do you remember the story how you got it?
Right. Now, there is a question being asked, is this bird, where's it from geographically? Where it was? You said it was taken in North Carolina?
It was shot in North Carolina.
Okay, so this is an eastern flyway species?
Well, there's hooded mergansers. I got to verify that they're out west, but I know they're here in Missouri, and they're scattered throughout the East Coast.
Okay.
That's a common bird.
Okay.
Have you ever done a banded bird?
I have done a banded mallard. It was a dead mount. So it was supposed to be part of a trio dead mount. Two of the birds. So that was one thing. The guy had he had the ducks in his freezer for 10 years.
Oh, wow.
They went through a power outage during one of the hurricanes and sat there. And then he was like, "Hey, I don't know if you could mount these. Give me a try. Just give them a shot." 8 out of 10 mounted, and then 2 of them did not mount. And I can get into the reasons why they didn't mount. So, but yeah, it was a banded mallard, and it was a dead mount.
So these were in his freezer for 10 years.
That's the story that I got. Yes.
Okay, assuming that's the case, he had no reason to really lie about it. But the fact that you can take and freeze something, I mean, that's the testament to the work you're doing. Is you don't have to just like rush out and get it done right away. You can actually, that's part of that conversation you can have. And then you ship it to you, and then you talk about what you can do with it. But yeah, 10 years. I wouldn't have thought. I think they got some kind of freezer bird.
Well, he said they lost power, so they thawed and refreezed.
Yeah.
But I guess it's all in how they were prepared and put in the freezer. And
speaking about that, what does somebody need to do? Like, I just shot a bird. Now, what do I do with it before I get it home to freeze it? How do I freeze it? And then how do I get it to you?
I'm glad we're going to cover this. This is very important. So the phrase that people say, and I can't stress this enough, is begin with the end in mind. You go out that morning, and if you have no intentions of getting a bird mounted, perfect. Go enjoy the hunt and have a good day. Mm-hmm. But what if you shoot that hybrid bird that you've never thought or you've never seen? Mm-hmm. What if you shoot a pintail with a bull sprig? What if you shoot a full plumage January wood duck and you're not in a wood duck state? What are you going to do? So begin with the end in mind. Have your 2-gallon Ziploc bag that you carry with you. shoot that bird, get it away from the dog, put it in a separate bag, and put that in the boat. And then don't mess with that bird again. Try to be as gentle on that bird as you can, because the more you handle the bird, the more damage could occur. There's a rumor out there that you wrap the bird in pantyhose to keep everything compressed. The pantyhose can put indentions in the feathers, so don't use pantyhose. Just wrap the bird in a Ziploc bag. When you get home, things to consider are excessive blood. So that bird that you're sitting at, that hooded merganser, has a white breast. Mm-hmm. If you've got an excessive amount of blood on the front of that bird, you want to wipe it off. The 2 birds that didn't mount from that guy that had the 10 birds, they had excessive blood on the breast from where the blood had leaked out, and the blood on the outside of the feathers plus the inside, that's what started to break down those feathers, and they started to fall out. Once you get the bird cleaned off, check your feathers, check your primaries and secondaries. Wrap your feet in a paper towel, wrap your head with a paper towel, and then tuck your head, rewrap it in a Ziploc bag, and then put it in the freezer. And that's basically it. That's what I do with my birds that I shoot. If it's a goose, I shot a couple geese here, early season geese that I'm going to mount just for myself. Those are wrapped in garbage bags. If it's a big bird, like I shot a swan in 2021 in North Carolina when I was lucky enough to draw a swan tag, that's wrapped in 2 garbage bags, and it's just been sitting in my freezer now for almost a year, just waiting.
I got to imagine, too, when you put it in the freezer, make sure you don't set your Thanksgiving turkey on top of it.
You want to tuck your head so your neck is protected, but
Okay.
tuck your head in toward the wing or lay it on its back. So you want to kind of like keep it round like a football.
Okay.
If you keep that neck stretched out and you just put it in there without thinking about it, and you drop something on it like your Thanksgiving turkey, you could break the neck right off.
Okay.
That's fixable, but we don't want to fix things if we don't have to.
Right.
Right, exactly. If we take care of the head, like you said, think of the end in mind. Take care of it now, it'll be a lot better in the end. Does freezing the bird over? Well, we talked about 10 years freezing. Does freezing the bird mess with the color of the bird over time?
No. Well, and a lot of times, I'm not sure. Is that a question from Facebook?
Yeah.
So the only thing that will discolor on the bird will be the bill, but I use artificial heads.
Okay.
So that's not a real head. That's not the bird's head. That's an artificial head painted to match what the bird looked like in real life. So there's discoloration on the bill, but I use artificial bills, and that gets replaced and so that brings up a good point too. If you shoot a bird and you want to get that bird mounted, take pictures. Take pictures of the bill and the feet the day you shoot it, right after you shoot it. If you can, right? Don't make a special stop of your hunt. But I always ask the clients, like, hey, you shot a redhead, you have pictures of the bill so I can get the color match. Otherwise, I'm going to paint it as the book says to paint it, and not all redheads and mallards have the same color patterns.
Right. Yeah. It's there's variations within all that stuff. So that's
The one thing I don't want a customer to get back is like, well, that's not what my bird looked like.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't look anything like my picture. Well, you didn't share the picture with me.
The bill was either darker or
For
lighter.
sure. Yeah, that's not what I remember.
Multicolor, had some different coloring in it.
When you, these tips that we're talking about, how we're going to get you the bird and how things travel, do you have like on your Facebook page where people can refer back to go back and look at, or?
I can put up a tips page, but a lot of times, what you're going to find, there's probably 6 or 7 or 10 videos on YouTube how to prepare a duck for freezer.
There you go.
A lot of videos are on YouTube on how to do it, and they've got video you can follow along and do exactly as they do it. The information is going to be the same usually from every taxidermist on how to prepare your bird for the freezer.
Okay, so we got them in the freezer. I've talked to you. I said we got this bird or birds, and I'm going to send them to you. Okay, so what's that process, and how much time do we have once we take it out of the freezer to get it to your door safely?
Okay, well, first we have to get some information from the hunter. There's a form that I've got that I can email, and then they can pull the form off your website that will tell them exactly what to fill out. And it's going to be your hunter ID number, your name, your address, where you're from, city and state, phone number, email address, et cetera.
I have that pulled up right now, so people that are listening on the podcast, go to the Facebook Live or the YouTube, and you can see what we're scrolling through right now.
Yep, and then you've got the species of what you shot and how many you shot. Your confirmation number, if applicable. So like my swan tag, I can put my swan tag number on that paper. Where did you kill the bird? Or where did you get the bird? Where did you hunt the bird? What county, what state? And then when did you kill it? What day did you kill that bird? That is information that I need for the migratory waterfowl. So when I get inspected by the game warden, I need to know who shot it, where they shot it, and when they shot it, and then when it was delivered to me. So that gets put on that information. When I get that paper from them, I put it on a tag, and that tag goes around that bird.
And like I said, with what you're saying, it's got to be all above board, completely legal, because, I mean, being a licensed taxidermist and everything, you are subject to inspection.
Right. And so I don't have permits to work on hawks or eagles, but if somebody were to call me and say, hey, can I bring this in the back door? Absolutely not. I'm not going to risk my career on mounting something for someone that's, there's no thank you. There's taxidermists out there that may do that, or they have the permits to work on that, but you've got to be, it's for educational purposes or museum purposes to work on stuff like that. So here, no, I will not take a bird unless everything is filled out 100% and is correct.
And we have our logo on that slip because it's a way for you for the tracking.
So your logo is on there. That way I know if they use that promotion code, then they'll get a 10% discount on any bird that they ship off.
What? Promotion code?
We got another promotion code.
We got another promotion code. So therefore, folks, if you haven't caught on, we now have a new supporter of Up North Journal, and that is the one and only Troublesome Creek Taxidermy. And as you see on the Facebook Live or on YouTube, we now have a promotion code. We'll get the form up on our website so you can download, or actually if you contact Scott directly, he'll have it as well. We just got to tweak it a little bit. We'll get it up there. But yes, welcome to supporting Up North Journal.
Well, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it, and I hope this is a long-lasting relationship.
So there's the part about saving the money we talked about in the description of the show tonight. It's going to save you time, and we're also going to save you some money.
That's right. And we want to... Oh, you're right, Tammy. Redheads are special.
You would ask when do you send that bird to me?
Yes.
I want to hit on that. So people will ship animals to tanneries, and it's always recommended that you ship it overnight on Monday.
Okay.
So that way your bird's not sitting in a warehouse on Saturday and Sunday when it's 85 or 90 degrees out.
Great point. I never even thought about that.
If you go duck hunting, and there's no rush on this. You can take that bird and you can wrap it and prepare it, and then go finish your season, and then you can decide at the end of the season what you want to get mounted and what you don't. But in February, when it's 14 degrees outside or 0, depending on where you live, take it to FedEx, you put it in a box, you wrap it, you overnight express it to here, and then there's no worry that the temperature is going to get above freezing because it's 15 or 20 degrees everywhere across the states.
Yeah, they don't heat those trucks.
Yeah, no, they don't.
I remember I worked for UPS for a short window of time in Chicago when I was going to school there, and it was December, January, and I was unloading trucks, semi trucks. Yep. You want to talk about cold? Yeah, the warehouse has no heat in it. The trucks have no heat in it, so anything that's coming through there is going to be frozen like a rock. So,
it is cold. It stays cold, and that's the best time to ship that stuff.
There you go.
So if someone calls me up July 1st and say, hey, I've got this mallard in the freezer, I shot it last season, are you interested in mounting it? Absolutely. Send it in December. So
exactly.
It's not going to hurt anything sitting in the freezer for 6 more months. You might have to wait a little longer. So you can either ship it or you can deliver it, but I would not ship it in December or deliver it in July, but do not ship it in July.
Well, like you had mentioned with the other gentleman who lost power, in a case like that, how long do you really have, if that thing does thaw a little bit, what's that, do you know if there's a window of opportunity where you can refreeze before it starts to really get bad?
The one bird that didn't make it had a lot of blood on the belly.
Okay.
I think it was shot in the belly and had a lot of blood in the belly. So if you have fluid leakage, you're against the clock no matter how long it sits, whether it's a minute or, an hour or 10 hours. So, but usually with birds, and birds are very forgiving. You can shoot the bird, you can lose power, the bird can unthaw completely, but then you're like, oh, let me refreeze it. There's a 50-50 chance that bird's going to hold up and you can still mount that bird. But I need to know that because that factors into my process on how I skin the bird, flesh the bird, wash the bird, and then I refreeze it as I wait on the parts to arrive for the head and the body. But if I know that bird's already been unthawed once, then it's going to be an A to Z bird, meaning I skin it, wheel it, wash it, and then wash it again, and then mount it in the same day.
Okay, so that determines the time and the process that you got to go through to get the bird finished. I got you. Okay, makes sense.
There you go.
So we ask questions. What did you do? When did you shoot it? What did you do? How long has the bird been in your possession? Has it ever been unthawed? Have you ever lost power in your freezer? And the guy told me flat out, he said, hey, I don't know if these birds are going to make it.
Okay.
So that's one thing that I did is when I unthawed it and I looked at the bird, I knew I didn't have refreezing opportunities because it had already been unthawed once.
Right. Okay.
Gotcha. So there you go, folks. We now have a new supporter on board here at Up North Journal. Going to do some waterfowl hunting. Want to get it mounted. Want to save some money. Use our code. Get it shipped out.
Okay.
Get it back.
I got a couple questions here for you. Let's take this in just a little bit different direction. Let's take a break. When we come back, I want to talk about turkey and pheasant briefly. So let's step outside, take our next break. We'll be right back after this.
Okay.
All right, folks. Last segment of the show. If you got any questions, get them in there. And if we have time, we'll weigh in on some other issues that are out there.
We got to try to at least hit on that just a little bit.
Right? It's only national news.
Right, exactly. Okay. Here we go. Stand by. All right, last segment of the show. Before we went to break, I just had a thought pop in my head. So we've been talking about waterfowl. Danny talked about, was that in the break we talked about the ribeye in the sky?
The sandhill crane?
Yeah.
No, that was in the second segment.
Okay, second segment. So you also, you do other birds. So if we're talking about a pheasant, if we're talking about a turkey, different times of the year, what is there a different process of getting that ready or putting it in the freezer and shipping to you? What do we need to do with different birds? Is there a different procedure?
So with different birds, it's going to be the pheasants. There's things to consider. Pheasants, you have the long tail, and then with the turkeys, you have the size. And a lot of people they want their bird back. So you're going to have to learn how to skin your bird.
Okay.
Or talk to me. We can talk. I'll walk you through the skinning process, and if you make a hole, we can sew it up. But
Okay.
there's a process involved with turkeys, and so far and there's certain things that we just prefer. You can do a turkey fan, turkey wings. You can do turkey mount, but full body turkeys, again, it's going to go back to I want to skin it my way. I prefer to have the entire bird sent and frozen.
Gotcha. Okay. Good question, Zach.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
Depending on what you want done, he's going to have different answers. So, obviously, if you're thinking about it, give him a call. He'll tell you the best way to do it. And same thing with a pheasant, right?
Yeah, I gotta imagine shipping it back if you're doing a full body turkey mount, or one flat would be I would think would be easier to ship, but with that, go ahead.
I'm sorry. There are taxidermy companies that they provide the shipping, but this is something that the client and I would discuss ahead of time. There's not going to be a surprise charge here.
Okay.
This is you're getting your bird back either by delivery or by shipping.
Okay.
And that's something that we have to talk about, and if it's worth it, if you're interested, then that's something that you're going to have to factor into it. Is it worth getting your bird back 9 months sooner for a $60 shipping charge? Or maybe you're comfortable waiting 24 months. But if the bird gets mounted in Missouri, it's got to get back to Michigan or Ohio or Indiana.
Or wherever you're sending it in from. And then that's the thing, right? There you go. That's the customer having that talk with the customer, letting them know all up front how you want it done, where you want it going, and you'll get it back in X amount of time. It's all up to the customer, right?
Yep. And that's going to be the choice. That's going to be his choice or her choice. Hey, is this worth it to me? Do I want to ship my bird out and get it back in 6 months? And then, what this really could appeal to is I don't know too many duck hunters that duck hunt alone.
Mm-hmm.
So you got a group of 5 guys, six guys, 6 hunters. You send in a group of ducks. I mount all those ducks, and then I'll just deliver those birds to you.
And while you're in town, they can take you out duck hunting.
If that's the season.
Right?
Or fishing, or hunting.
Right? But, it's just one of those things, it sounds, you've got the model set up for a perfect return of a bird real nice and quick instead of making somebody wait, and that way they can have it back on their wall enjoying it in a short amount of time.
So this is why, and people would say, well, why would you deliver it? Why would you take the time out of your day to drive to Michigan to drop off birds? I just want to. That's all I can say. I dropped my deer off at the taxidermist, and he said 24 months. And I was like, man, that's horrible. That's something that I would never want to have for that customer. If I was ever a taxidermist, I would never want to have someone wait 24 months to get their animal back. So I've made it my goal and my mission for my shop here that I'm only going to take in birds. I'm only going to take in as much work as I can handle. And if it's beneficial, if it's beneficial to the customer to mail it back, then I'll mail it back. Or I can deliver them. If there's a group of birds, several birds, then I will deliver those birds back.
There you go.
There you go, folks. So, with that being said, get over to Troublesome Creek Taxidermy's Facebook page. Check him out. Give him a like. Give him a share. He's now a proud sponsor of the Up North Journal. And welcome aboard again. And hopefully, we'll be sending you some birds.
Yeah, make sure that you use that sheet that's got our logo on it to save yourself 10%.
Yep, and we'll have that up on the website, and then you can download it, fill it out. You can actually call Scott, have that conversation, and go from there.
So, is there anything that we need to touch on that we've missed about your services?
Nope. I think we've covered most everything, but a lot of it's field care,
Okay.
shipping, and then how do you get the bird back? And it's going to be good communication between me and the customer on how we approach this.
Okay.
And I think you said it best. Think of the end means when you start.
Yep.
Exactly.
Begin with the end in mind.
We kind of touched on this a little bit in the last segment, and we kind of led into something that, you and I, we had a little discussion the other night, about doing things legally, because you don't want your local CO saying, okay, hey, why have you got this bird? Why isn't there proper documentation with that?
Why do you have a bald eagle mounted?
Yeah, why do you have a bald eagle? No, you don't want problems like that, because we all saw, at least I think we all saw,
How could you miss it?
Saturday of what happened in the state of Ohio at a walleye fishing tournament. What was your first reaction on that as an outdoorsman, Scott?
I don't know how someone goes. I don't know why it's that important to win. I don't know how someone wakes up and puts 8 pounds of lead weight in their boat and goes out and goes fishing with the intention of stuffing that in a fish. I've never in my life wanted to win that bad.
Right.
But, there's a form on here that says this wildlife listed on this form was taken in accordance with all state and federal regulations, and maybe they have to sign a waiver that says, hey, this fish was taken in accordance and weighs in accordance with wildlife regulations. I'm not sure.
Well, like Danny had said earlier, I think it was before the show started, we were kind of talking about this a little bit, that we were following along with the head-to-head series last year, the walleye series, and they had a marshal in each boat that went out, so they had a person there to verify what was being done, as well as each day they'd switch marshals up. So,
Right, and it was first of all, it was basically live TV. Second of all, it was weighed. It was weighed by the marshal.
That's right, I forgot about that.
And
On the spot.
it was all on the spot. So,
And then released.
and then what happened then was, from that point, it makes you think, that here we are, it was a walleye tournament on Lake Erie, and what's the importance of winning to that two guys? What end result of them not following the law was a lot of companies had to make some statements saying, "Hey, we're not affiliated whatsoever," because they had on the jersey with the logo,
The sponsor jerseys.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I know I caught one said we're not affiliated whatsoever.
I haven't heard that yet.
Yeah, no, they're definitely creating distance between their logo on a jersey and what they did.
Yep.
We had nothing to do with them. We're not affiliated with them, and so on. But like we talked before the show, basically, some people will go to great lengths to win.
Well, I think you put prize money out there, whether it be a big butt contest, whether it be a fishing tournament, what have you. You put money and wild game together. It seems to stir up a lot of jealousy and a lot of greed.
Yeah, I think they said one of the tournaments they won a $150,000 boat last year.
Wow.
So it when you do something like that and it brings into question the integrity of the sport.
Yeah.
This isn't the integrity of that one tournament. This is the integrity of the sport of tournament fishing in general. And you're going to have a lot of conversations about this on podcasts and outdoor shows. I was listening to one of the sports talk radio shows, and they were talking about that here. And it's a national sports talk radio show.
We had the same thing happen here in Detroit today. They were talking about it.
It calls in, and the person that runs that tournament, he's been on a couple shows already. He had to make a statement. He had to, he's out there getting the word out now. What he's got to do, and he's got to figure out before, I don't know if their season's done or not, or what's going to go on next, but they're going to have to, prevent this. I guess they'll have to have metal detectors or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right?
There's going to have to be a way that's got to be monitored.
You had talked about, I think, with the tournament last year, they had marshals in each boat.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it comes down to that with tournament fishing is you put a marshal in the boat, an independent observer, and then how do you keep people from cheating?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it boils down to.
Right?
How do you maintain the integrity of your sport and your tournament and prevent people from cheating?
People are going to push the envelope. We see it in motorsports. You gain a thousandth here, a hundredth here, and we're talking thousandth or hundredth of an inch to make something else faster, turn tighter, hold, be more aerodynamic or whatever that doesn't fit the template. And it's like, how much can you shave without staying within the bounds of the rules?
Absolutely. You get down to the hundredths of an inch, and you do it, and you stay within that limit, a height limit, a weight limit, whichever limit they're going to catch you on. But these two guys have been doing it. I think they were leading the series.
Yeah, they're leading the series, and I think they're up for Anglers of the or Team of the Year.
Yeah, and here you are, and all of a sudden the greed just throws it right down the toilet, and it was kind of ironic. The one guy just stood there. Mm-hmm. He just stood there, and the other guy just booked.
Yeah.
It was like, well, you're caught. What are you going to do now?
Yeah, wait for either the police or the CO to show up and take you away.
Right.
Because there's multiple violations. That's grand larceny. It's taking money under false pretenses, and
there's a whole bunch of things that's probably going to end up
game
happening.
laws and everything else. And what are they going to confiscate? They're going to confiscate their boat and all their gear. Who knows?
Yeah. So it's just one of those things. It's greed.
Yeah, it's Scott, I think you and I, we were kind of chatting the other day a little bit back and forth about, and we talked about deer hunting, and big antlers and scoring antlers, and and you expressed to me, it's like, yeah, I'm a deer hunter, but I'm about putting meat in the freezer, and
Sure.
It's like let's get a doe and get it down on the ground and make some ground beef out of it, speed beef as we call it.
Yep.
So I just, like I said, when you start, there's nothing wrong with measuring antlers. I don't take this the wrong way, but when you start scoring them and trying to win something or prestige, whatever it is, or fish by weight, it gets to a point where where does it stop? I guess
Yeah.
I don't know. So
and whether that's Lake Erie, out in Missouri, anywhere here in Michigan, it happens everywhere. Whether it be deer, turkey. It just, you watch those Northwoods Law shows, and you watch all the different hunting CO shows out there, and you just see what people try to get away with, and you're just like, really? So.
Well, one of the tournaments that I've seen, I think it's in Tennessee, or it's a web-based tournament. But what they do is they don't care how much the fish weighs. And you've got a bunch of kayak fishermen that go out there, and they each get a number, and they get a ruler issued to them by the tournament director, and then that is how they post their fish. So they catch a fish, they put it on the ruler next to their number, and it's about the length of the fish more so than the weight of the fish.
Okay.
There
You
you go.
can't fake length, but you can certainly, as we found out this weekend, you can fake a lot of weight.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
Until you get caught.
Right? Until they rattle around, right? And then.
I was listening to the tournament director on a podcast. I was listening last night, and he was talking. He's like, I've seen, hundreds of thousands of fish come across scales. He says, I've done this, and I'm a fisherman. He says, I knew something was up right away when it tipped the scale and it had the weight. Their big fish was 7.9 pounds, and they put it back in the bag to weigh their biggest weigh their 5, and it was 33 pounds. He said, well, that tells me that those 5 fish average over 6 pounds each. And he said, like, there's no way.
Right?
So that was the tipping point. It's like you stuffed too many in there.
Yeah, well, they knew they had to clear whatever the weight was. Mm-hmm. They blew right by it.
Yeah.
And it was like,
second place was 16 pounds.
Yeah, they were at 33. And oops.
Yeah. So what it tells me is the way, as sophisticated as it was, putting the slabs of walleye meat in the belly as well, that this is probably not the first time this has happened.
No.
So. No, not at all. So, but you know what, folks, that's the thing. That made national news in a heartbeat, and it's going to have ramifications in all tournament fishing. What it might be and what it leads to, only each tournament will tell you.
Well, it goes back to like what Aldo Leopold said. Hunting ethics, it goes right down to fishing ethics as well. Is what you do when somebody's not looking. That's your character and your integrity, the whole 9 yards. So remember that, guys and gals, when you're out on the water or in the woods.
There you go.
You cheat nobody but yourself. So. Well, we're running up here at the end.
Have you waited in long enough for that?
Waited in long enough. I see what you did there.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, okay.
So. But Scott, it is great to have you on board as a supporter of Up North Journal.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And thank you for joining us. And people out there that are listening to the show, if you get a waterfowl animal, if it flies, he can mount it, he said. So it might be including an ostrich, I guess.
I saw in the chat there something was about you riding an ostrich.
Yeah, well, Mark. He wants to know if Scott can mount an ostrich. And I'm like,
I think you can shoot them in Texas, can't you?
I think they're legal somewhere.
Yeah, I think Texas.
It just depends. You just got to go to the right place, I guess. So,
right.
Pull up the website again. Let's give everybody the website.
So it's not a website. It is Facebook. It is Troublesome Creek Taxidermy, right there on Facebook. Go over there. He's got pictures of his mounts. Give him a like. Give him a share.
Yep. You can find me on Instagram too at Troublesome Creek Taxidermy. That's where I post a lot of the pictures of the mounts and stuff. So if anyone's curious, because they all want to see, well, there's 3 things they ask you. Give me pictures so you can see what kind of birds look like when they get mounted, and then how much do you charge. So with this case here, we're talking about the price of a bird, but we're talking about memories that are going to last forever. So there's certain questions that you want to ask your taxidermist. Where did you go to school? How'd you learn? How long you been doing it? Where'd you get trained? And then that's more important than how much do you charge.
Exactly. So. Yeah. Especially if it's a memory of a lifetime. I mean, we put a price on it, but in reality, if you want it done right, you really can't put a price on it if you want it to last a lifetime. So I think that's speaks volumes. Just those questions alone. So, what are you doing over there, Dan?
Come over here and I can show you his Instagram page.
Oh, okay. All right. There you go.
And there you go. You can give him a follow over there on Instagram as well. And he's got pictures of all his birds. You can go in there and check him out and see what he's created.
Very
Yep.
nice.
Instagram, you'll find a little more about me on there too. It's a little more of like Scott, what I do. I put Instagram stories up there on what I do. So if you send me a bird, you may get a sneak peek of what's mounted on that day because I put that on my Instagram story. Facebook is a way to talk to a different type of client.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
So I tell you what, hang on here at the end of the show, and we'll chat afterwards. But we're going to wrap everything up. Everybody, don't forget, when you call them, let them know you heard about it here to get that discount, or pull that form off of. You're going to put it on our website.
I'm going to put it on the website, and obviously we'll talk about it more as each show progresses. But I'll have it up on the website,
Okay.
and we can go from there.
UpNorthJournal.com, obviously.
Yep.
So, but that's going to do it for us this week, folks. For those of you on the podcast, obviously there's a lot of pictures and the form and everything that you didn't get to see. Go back, look at the live stream that we just did here on our Facebook page, or the one that Danny will post later over on YouTube, probably by when?
By the weekend.
By
Usually
the weekend
sometime.
Okay. So, and if you're listening to the podcast on iTunes, make sure you give us a review. That helps us, and it helps people like Scott in turn. So that just creates our listener base and spreads that across to everybody else to be able to hear. And for those of you here on Facebook that are watching, make sure you go over, give him a like, follow, share over on his Troublesome Creek Facebook page and his Instagram page. And do the same for us here at Up North Journal as well. Give us a like, follow, share if you're not already doing it. Smash that like button and share the show for us, because that in turn helps us as well as our supporters.
Yep, absolutely.
Next week.
Haley Andrus, kayaking.
No, not kayaking.
No, what? I'm sorry. I looked at you and thought kayaking.
That's what I did this weekend.
That's right.
No, Haley Andrus is a extreme outdoors woman that put on a pretty big feat, no pun intended, hiking feat. She did something extremely outlandish. I mean, I still can't believe what she did, and I don't really want to give that away if you want to look up the name and see what she did. But she does live here in Michigan, and she did something pretty cool. So we're going to have her on next week, and
Yep.
we're going to talk about the training she went through, why she did it, and what she saw along her travels. So y'all take care. Next week, we'll be back 7:30 Wednesday night, and if you're out in the woods, as we said last week, make sure if you're in a tree stand, wear that safety harness.
Yes.
Haven't heard of any bad accidents yet, and we hope it stays that way. So,
And in Michigan, don't forget, if you do get a kill, make sure you register it.
absolutely. All right, that'll do it for us this week, folks. We'll be back again next week.